Hey, it's Matt here, and I've been speaking with some solar companies, and this is an audit I've done actually for a solar company who's hit a certain mark, who's sort of stayed at the same level for the last 4 or so years and is looking to grow. So let's get into it now. I have de-identified things, so the details are slightly changed, and you'll see throughout the video that there's certain graphics that I've had to sort of block out just to keep things de-identified. So let's go through it. So this was actually what I went through with the business owner on the call. But let's have a look. Growth audit for $6 to $7 million solar company. So a solar company that's currently doing $6 to $7 million a year, wanting to scale to $22 million plus. Now, what areas does the business service? All of Australia. Current annual revenue, $6 to $7 million a year. Number of crew members, around 65. What do you want the annual revenue to get to over the next 5 to 10 years? So where does the business owner want to get to the next 5 to 10 years? $22 million annual revenue business. On a scale of 1 to 10, how serious are you at achieving this and why? So I didn't really get, actually now I'm looking back at my notes, I didn't get a clear answer as to why it's really important, but the business owner did mention frustrations of really just stalling at a certain level. So the $6 to $7 million. Again, it's de-identified. I've changed the numbers a bit, but for this case, we'll keep it. So with this fictional, if you will, even though it's a real case study, the business has stalled at $6 to $7 million, kept encountering issues, mainly marketing and hiring marketing people, which has prevented the business from scaling. Hence why they're speaking with me. So what has stopped you from getting to this? So what has stopped the business from achieving $22 million? And the answer the business owner gave was hiring the right people for marketing, and even saying that he's not himself good at marketing. And asked, what have you considered as an option to getting to your goal? What have you tried? He said he's tried hiring some content guys. They just weren't getting a grasp of marketing the niche. Basically, it just wasn't working. Now I was speaking with this business owner. We are exploring the partnership model. So that's the model where businesses, I partner with businesses and I help them. I come in and help them start growing, and then we have a bespoke arrangement of where they pay me, my business, based on actual results and actual sales driven. So I asked him, was there anything specific that he actually wanted? And he said, not really, just results at the end of the day. Now, do you have a website? Now, de-identified that. He does have a website. How many leads is the business generating on average per month? 60 to 80. Where do most of the jobs come from? Facebook ads, SEO, word of mouth. Now, he said word of mouth is where the best conversion rate is. It always is. Word of mouth always is. But you just can't scale on that. Google ads, Facebook ads, and website and SEO. He did mention as well there are other smaller streams as well, but not really worth mentioning. They're the main ones here. Now, I asked him, do you have a consistent follow-up process, or is it a bit hit and miss? Now, really interestingly, he said at the beginning, I've got a very good follow-up process. He's got HubSpot. He uses software called Open Solar. And I put here, he's got a 15 to 18% conversion rate overall. He couldn't tell me his numbers when I asked him about what the cold leads, the leads that the old leads you generate when you do reactivations, what are the conversion rates? And he gave me an overall conversion rate, which told me he's not actually tracking what is the reactivation campaigns. It actually turned out, by the way, he's not doing reactivation campaigns. When he said the follow-up is really strong, what he actually meant, when I probed a bit deeper, was that he's got all these past customers who they've done solar panels for, and he's got the sales team calling them to upsell them on batteries. So very good that he's got trying to upsell on batteries. That's really good to upsell there. But there's really no reactivation on cold leads there, so it's a big gap. Anyway, so and he said they do things like email campaigns. Now, I asked him what type of job brings you the best profit margins, solar and batteries. That's more obvious in the solar niche. This might be different when someone's maybe doing home remodeling as well as ADUs, or someone's doing roofing and decks. You get some contracting businesses that are doing multiple things. Solar's typically stock standard. Now, I asked him what CRM does he use, how does he use it. So he uses HubSpot for like the sales and marketing stuff. Click up for more around delivering the service, and not using any AI at the moment. Asked him as well, why not? And he said, it just basically doesn't have the people to do it, doesn't have the knowledge. And again, that's why he's speaking with me. So totally good there. So asked him as well, what marketing or growth agencies are you working with at the moment? Says he's got a few in-house guys that are doing SEO. I wouldn't be surprised if they're outsourced, because he does have a bit of a crew outsource as well. But there's no current content creation here. So all good in the hood. Now, well, I mean, it's not all good, but it's good that he's speaking with me, if that makes sense. But If he was working with an agency, I'd be like, why are you speaking with me? Are they not doing a good job? But in this case, he's not working with someone, which probably means he kind of needs to work with someone. Cool. Asked him as well, what's your process for following up and reactivating old leads? As I mentioned earlier, his team is following up every customer to upsell batteries, but it doesn't pursue a lot of cold leads. So massive gold mine there. And so I can identify, so yes, he wants to get to say $22 million. But we also want to see what's realistic in short term, what can be handled. So I asked him, with your current resources, how many more jobs max could you take on the next 3 to 6 months? And he said he's really good. He's really good at operations. He can get subcontractors, team members. He said he could take 150 jobs a month extra. Now, of course, these numbers are just estimates, But from speaking with this guy, and he may not, he may not decide to work with me. He might not like the strategy or what I put forward, and that's totally fine. But what I will say is that there's some elements about this business that make him a potential really good fit for what I'm offering. And if you're in the same category, you might want to contact me. But basically, he's not really good at the marketing stuff. He doesn't know how to do that properly. But he seems very confident, like very good at operations. So he could, if enough jobs come through, he can get the team on it and get them to do it. So if that's you and you run a home improvement business, roofing, home remodeling, solar, decks, whatever it is, and you feel the same, where you could just, if these jobs just were thrown at you, you're like, yeah, I could get the team together, I could scale up at that, I know exactly how to manage that, operations would be no problem. But you're just you're having trouble with the marketing side of things and actually getting your lead flow enough, as well as lead conversion. Just feel free to contact me if you want an audit like this as well. But let's get back into it. Let's keep providing you some value here. So I do have some key findings here. Now, I'm not going to go through the key findings summed up yet, because I want to go through a bit of the detail with you. Because those key findings here are based on what's a bit more of a thorough analysis. So this is based on the chat that I had with him, but now I want to kind of do my independent analysis. So let's look at his website. So website, I've de-identified it. Put a contact form tested here. Now it did redirect to a success web page, so that's good, because when you redirect to a success web page, you can track things like Google Ads conversion tracking and things like that. I didn't do a thorough analysis on his tracking codes and all that. That's more of a later step. I'm more here looking for an overall audit, an overall picture to see how things are, and then identify some quick wins. I'm not really, I'm not an SEO provider or a website designer where I'm just focusing on that. I'm more looking at the business and everything holistically, so a bit more high level. So it did redirect to success page, which is good. Now, when I submitted the contact form, did I get a confirmation email? No, I did not. Did I get a confirmation SMS, a text message? No, I did not. Not good. Was there an AI sales by SMS conversation? Well, obviously not, because none of these, but he doesn't have that as well. And I've got here USP and CTA front and center. So USP just stands for unique selling proposition. And typically that could be text in like the very front, like the very top of a web page or your landing page, selling, saying what makes you different or putting the value proposition. So I'm just going to make something up here. This is just an example, don't hold me to it, but let's say you found that your solar panels could help people, could help homeowners reduce their bills by, I'm just gonna make up a number, say 80%. You could put as a headline, reduce your electricity bills by 80% with ya. So obviously it has to be compliant, and the business has to make a decision around that, but that's the kind of idea. It has a unique selling proposition there. Now, to make it more unique for a provider, you'd probably want to see, can you come up with an angle that your competitors can't do? That's going to make it really unique. But up until then, you can kind of just take what you're already doing and what your competitors, like everyone is doing, but just make it really clear what the value is to your customer, because a lot of businesses, a lot of your competitors aren't doing that. So that can really help as well. So that's just what that is when I say USP. And CTA. So what CTA is call to action. So a button such as get quote or claim your free info pack on this, whatever it is. Now I said here no. Now with this particular website, he didn't really have like a clear USP thing. He did have a get quote or send message button, but it wasn't very prominent. At least not on the desktop version. I definitely could have looked on the phone. I probably will actually, but could have been a bit more prominent. Now, my overall comments on the website, it had a lot of good content actually. So there was a lot of like blog posts, a lot of a lot of, what do you call it, like menu bar items, like actually a lot of content. So there was enough there to go, oh, this is like a business that seems quite established, and there's a lot of stuff there. I would say the design overall was relatively strong. Now, some of the website designs coming out these days are really good. So when I say strong here, I'm more looking at, like, how would you phrase it? If I was a website designer, I wouldn't say it was strong, but I'm not too concerned about that, because I think there's more things to focus on, or more constraints to focus on with a service business like this. It'd be different if, he offered website design, and if you offer website design as your key offering, your website has to look really good, right? But it's solar, so I'm not too concerned about that. So even though it's not an amazing website, in the context of what he's offering, everything, I thought it was pretty much strong. I was happy with it. Now, there really does need to be a solid USP and call to action front and center at the top. You might see it at the top. And the reason for that, by the way, is that in general with marketing, the first thing people see, so let's say it's the hook of a video, so the first few seconds of a video, or if you're scrolling down on Facebook or Instagram, like the image you see, the text, whatever it is, basically the first thing that your prospect sees is the thing that's going to capture their attention and keep them engaged. So in this case, it's a website, going to keep them going down. That's half the battle. And marketers know that they put a disproportionate, like a huge percentage of effort and time into, we call it the hook, let's say, or in a website, the hook will be the first thing the prospect sees, the user sees. A crazy amount of time into that, and even split testing that, because if you can't get your prospect to stay and read the rest, then it doesn't matter how good the rest of what you write is. And that tends to be what has the most impact on conversion rates. So it's pretty common knowledge in the marketing world. So that's that there. Now, when I was a lead, there was no automated email, SMS, or AI sales bot. So what's an AI sales bot? An AI sales bot is it's an AI chatbot that you configure specifically to the company, and it's something that we can develop as well. And what it does is it has that personalized SMS conversation, so it can have a bit of back and forth, and you can train it to do that. It's pretty cool what you can do there. So that can start building some rapid momentum with leads, actually automated as well. So there's massive amounts of revenue being missed here for sure. So if you look at this, one other thing to mention on this, sorry, I keep sort of pinging around. This is really important. So if your business gets back to leads within 5 minutes of the lead being generated, you've roughly got around a 900% chance of actually converting the lead. It's actually crazy, the stats that have been said there. So all these automated things to get onto leads really fast help that. So, and just quickly, he mentioned here 15 to 18% conversion rate overall. I could almost guarantee with an AI sales bot, or even just automatic SMSs and emails to say, hey, got your details, will be in contact. Almost no doubt that I'll have a boost on conversion rate. Now, let's get into, so I made a note here, thorough SEO audit not completed, just a high level review. And there was a thing as well. So on the contact form, it did ask, what's your preferred contact method, phone or email? Now, maybe there's a reason that they've done this. Maybe they did some split tests. I'm not sure. But my question is, and I'm going to ask the business owner when I next speak with him, is there any reason why you gave them the option? Why not just get rid of the option and then just call the leads? Because there are leads that might just select email because it sounds like a less frictionless process, you know what I mean? But if you just got them on the call, then boom. Now, it might not be a big deal, but just a tiny thing. Now, let's look at the Google business profile. So this business is servicing all throughout Australia. Now, because I really just don't want to risk anything, I want to keep it super de-identified. I've just put in here. So these are the different Google business profiles. So we've got state 1. This is the main state the business operates in. Now I've just put in 400 Google reviews. Again, just making it so it cannot be identified. State 2 and state 3. Now the problem is that he actually operates in 2 more states. So as I put here, he's got very solid Google reviews on his main state in the Google business profile for his main state. The other 2 here, he's got no Google business profile reviews. And I couldn't find any Google business profile reviews as well for the 2 other states that he operates in. So this is a really big issue. So in the main state that he's working in, he's got really good Google Maps presence. So you could call it SEO. I just like to call it Google Maps, basically. You know, when you type in, you know, solar near me or roofing near me or whatever. So for the other states that he operates in, he's got the Google Business Profile set up, but there's no Google reviews. So that's going to have a massive impact on actual traffic. Like if you're looking for a solar company, especially you're looking for quality, and that means you might have more money to spend, by the way. So like a really quality lead, you're going to be wanting to see reviews, especially when the competitors have lots of reviews. So in this state, it's going to be really strong. And these states here, very weak. But there are ways to fix that actually. And I will go through, or there are ways to help this. So I will go through what can be done there. But we'll go through that later. Now I had a look at his Facebook and Instagram. Now we've got some ads running here. Now this is running to a lead magnet. What I've done to, again, super de-identified is I've blocked out some stuff, but I've even replaced some wording just so it cannot be, you know, it cannot be found or located because you can search into the Facebook ads library. And if I did have the actual wording, there's a chance you might be able to sort of find it and put two and two together. Very rare, probably not going to happen, but better to be safe than sorry, right? So this image here was of like an ebook, and this was the primary text. And I've also just changed what it said here, but basically it's claiming a free ebook. Now I've highlighted in yellow. The yellow here doesn't appear in yellow in the ad, but I've just put it here to sort of highlight what's being split tested. So this one says, now this isn't actually what it says, but I've made a version of it to illustrate. This ad says 12 solar mistakes you must avoid. And this one here says 12 solar mistakes to avoid. So a slight difference being split test there. Now, there were no other ads running. So split testing is really important, but when you're split testing, generally you want to test the variables that are going to have the most impact, so such as your creative, so that's your image or your video that's being tested. In this case, it was the same image, and even your headline. You want to test your different headlines. So if you're running a split test where you've got the exact same image, the exact same headline or call to action, so to speak, but this primary text here, which I've highlighted in yellow for the video, if that's what's being split tested, which is also the most tiny difference, you would really only split test that tiny difference if you had split tested so many other variables such as your creative, headlines, different types of primary text, like a long form versus a short form, and then a short form with this type, with this one. Like, before you start split testing these two tiny differences, like the words you must versus to, like, for that to even be worth split testing, you would have had to have already tested heaps and heaps and heaps and heaps and heaps of variables and found this is a clear winner. And I'm going to ask him if that's the case, but I highly doubt it is. I highly doubt it is. If it was, I think I would be seeing there'd be so many other ads running because if that was the way they operated, you would have a lot of other split tests running, most likely. So that's a bit of something there. Now, general observations, it looked like only commercial prospects were being targeted in the ad. So I'm going to have a conversation around why that. It could just be because they're higher value, but I want to see how that's actually working. Again, there's one split test running. Now, is this because the campaign is performing extremely well and has been tested with many different split tests, and now only the primary text has been split tested? So that's what I mentioned before. You know, have we actually gone through that? I want to find that out. Answer is probably not, but you never know. Now, I went through the Facebook page and there was content around just different things like humanoid robots, people returning from space, OpenAI updates and stuff like that. And I'm not sure if these are related to queries or conversations that the prospects actually have with the company. So yes, this is the learning here is if you're going to publish content through like your business page, especially, it has to be related to your target audience's like interest regarding what you solve, the problem you solve. So anything that's personal interest and things like that should not be published to your company page unless they relate. And even if they do relate, you have to ask yourself the question, just like customer care, you might, there might be some really cool industry knowledge that you're interested in, but your customers might not care about that. They just want solar panels. They want the best deal or quality, whatever it is. So it's something to be aware of. Pick up on a tiny thing. The YouTube link on the Facebook page was invalid. Tiny thing. And the lead magnet itself looks good. I read through the lead magnet. That looks good. but no email or SMS received after claiming the lead magnet. So similar to the website, when I became a lead, I didn't get any automatic emails or SMSs after claiming the lead magnet. It was interesting, actually, because I clicked the download button. It then took me to a landing page where I could fill out my details. Once I filled out that form for the details, it actually redirected me to another page, which was the PDF. So the PDF, which I could read on my browser or download. But I didn't get any email, which is crazy, because that means that, if I quit out of the PDF on Chrome, or I delete the PDF, I can't even search in my email to find out who gave it to me. So when I'm thinking, I want to contact that solar company, I have no idea how to find them again, right? Unless I remember their name. I'm also wondering if, because of that lack of automation I'm seeing, that automated response, I even want to ask him if leads are being tracked in the system who claim this lead magnet. Surely they are, but it's something to ask. You never know. With the other mistakes I'm seeing here, I wouldn't be surprised with anything. Now look at YouTube here. Now I've actually, again, super de-identifying things. So I've blurred out a heap of or colored over a heap of thumbnails, and even changed the name of a title. But I wanted to highlight this. So they had some videos that were related to solar and definitely was related to what the business provides. But then there was this other video here that I've changed the name so you can't find it, so to speak, but it says here, attuned to give you happiness. Now, let me ask you this. If you're looking for solar panels, you're looking for a solar panel provider for your house, and you look up their content, is a video with attuned to happiness something that you think is going to provide value? Is that going to build trust with you when you're looking for a solar provider in that context? Probably not, right? So you just got to be aware of the context of what the target customers are are going onto YouTube for. And even if here's another thing. So you might be thinking, okay, I get that, Matt, but that's if they're looking at my profile. I'm actually trying to generate views. I'm trying to generate views for my YouTube channel, or trying to generate leads. Okay, so let's say you put up a tune that's attuned to give you happiness, right? And then that gets many more views, right? Cool, might sound cool. I've got this many views. What kind of views are they? Are they people looking for solar panels? Maybe, but they might have just been looking for a tune for happiness, right? So we never want to go for, with content or anything, we never want to go just for traffic. We want to go for relevant traffic. 1,000 views by 16-year-olds who want to tune to happiness, 16-year-olds living in their basement who want to tune to happiness, is not worth one view by one homeowner that wants their solar panels installed. So we don't go for views. Because we want to optimize. The end goal is sales. So everything we want to go for has to be driving towards sales. And let's go drive for sales. If it doesn't drive towards that, then what are we doing? What are we doing? So general observations on the YouTube channel is not all videos seem targeted towards the target audience, what I mentioned above earlier. Now, videos also seem to have robotic sounding voices. So I reckon it was using AI voices, and I have no problem with that. I've actually been working a lot on AI voices. I've cloned my own and made a few videos, and it's not perfect, but it's definitely sounding pretty good. But these AI voices weren't very good. The visuals were pretty decent, and there was no consistent voice across the videos either. So you'd have one accent with one voice, an AI voice, and then another accent with another voice. Not the end of the world, especially when you're trying to find your voice and trying to find what's good, so to speak. But definitely some brand improvement there, but probably not the first thing I'd look into until bigger opportunities, like quicker win opportunities, are solved, or other easier to solve and constraints that get better results. I'd focus on those first. So we'll get into that. So here are the key findings, and then we'll get into some my personal recommended first steps. I do need to learn a bit more and speak with him a bit more, but I'm pretty sure this is on the mark. And I'm just going to take things at face value to make this video more valuable to you as well. So the key findings is automated emails, SMSs, or an AI sales bot are lacking. They're just not there for website leads and Facebook ads leads. So as I mentioned, when I filled out the contact form through the website, when I downloaded the lead magnet, I didn't get any automated emails or SMSs and no AI chatbot or AI sales bot conversation. So that's pretty big. It looks like very few split tests are being run on the Facebook ads, so it doesn't look like they're testing much there. I also actually don't even know what the ad budget is. I need to find that out. Website could do with a stronger USP, so the unique selling proposition. and the CTA, the call to action in the fold just being the top of the website. We talked about that earlier. Now, there are no Google Business profiles set up for some states, and other Google Business Profile accounts for other states have no reviews, so there needs to be some Google review campaigns. I'll go through in a sec what that is. If you're like, what's a Google review campaign, I'll go through it in a sec later. Content across Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube seems to be inconsistent. I should say this, inconsistent. Inconsistent in its production. There's no real brand voice and irrelevant content seems to be posted. And this isn't a big one. Cold leads are not pursued. So I've kind of done all this analysis, but the funniest thing is the quick win for revenue is right here. The cold leads are not pursued. There's no proper reactivation or follow-up process. So I do need to find out from the business owner how many cold leads there are. But if we just think about it, if he's generating around this many, if they're generating around this many per month, right? And they've got a conversion rate of this, I could even do some quick math. I haven't really done it here. I probably should. In fact, I will. Now I'm looking at this, I will do that. But there's going to be a lot, right? So even if we just take, like, if we do some reactivation campaigns, and even if 1% turn into closed jobs, that's great, if not more. And that's without paid ads. That's without paying SEO. It's fast. Massive there. So recommended first steps here. This is this is the fun stuff. So I would say these would be my recommended first steps, and I will be taking him through this, and it's up to him whether he decides to go with it. But this is what I would recommend. 1, get easy revenue. So there's cold leads here. Reactivate your cold leads through the reactivation campaigns and use the sales bot for best results. So what do I mean by this? So when you do a reactivation campaign, there's a couple of ways you can do it. One way is you could just have your sales team just basically calling the list, almost like cold calling, not quite, because they are inbound leads technically. Outbound, depends what you want to say, but they're leads that engaged you, not totally cold. You can have a sales team just smashing through the list. Probably not the best use of your sales team's time, especially when you have AI and automation that can be leveraged. And software, which does all that. So that's option 1, is using a sales team to call the list. Option 2 is doing a manual email and or SMS blast out, and then your sales team can respond back to the leads that replied positively. Option 3 is having a sales bot that sends SMSs out. The leads that respond back, it has a personalized conversation because it's programmed correctly. And then what it does is it actually books them in directly to either, well, 2 things. It could either say, I'm going to get a sales team member to speak with you, so the team member calls, or it can even just book in a quote directly. Each solution has a bit more complexity to it, but there's obviously, the more you're doing, the more value you can provide. So it really just depends on what's best for the business there. Either way, these old leads should definitely be reactivated. And there's some options there. So once that is done, or even while it's happening concurrently, but let's say once that is done, 1 step at a time, right? Let's get that done. Then we want to increase the conversion rate for the leads coming in general. So how we can do this by setting up automatic emails, SMSs, and sales bot for the new leads through the website and Facebook ads. So some sort of automation that contacts them to start warming up the lead, even if it's just preparing them for the sales team member to call them. A personalized conversation with a sales bot could be really useful, because remember, leads that are contacted within 5 minutes of being generated, there's around a 900% increase of the chance of them converting. So we really want to do what we can there. Third thing I would recommend is boost your Google Maps results. So how we can do this is using email or SMS, or even again, sales bot, have personalized SMS conversations through a sales bot. Contact their past customers that liked your work related to the states and get them to do reviews on the Google Business Profile. So let's say state 2, I'll just go back to GBP, Google Business Profile. So state 2 and state 3, Google on my phone decided to start. Anyway, state 2, cool. Which jobs were completed in state 2? Let's send them an email blast out or sales bot, whatever it is, and get them to leave positive reviews. Same with state 3. What are the customers that we did work for? Contact them through a campaign, maybe even a couple, whatever it is, and get them to leave positive reviews. It's going to have a big impact. And as well as set up Google Business Profiles for the remaining states and launch Google reviews. We have to as well make sure with Google Business Profile that they have the right, setup, like physical address or whatever for the remaining states. Maybe that's why they haven't done it. Not really sure, but that would be the recommendation. Because the Google Maps, when people type in Seoul near me, and they see there's reviews, that's going to have a huge impact on actually lead, like traffic and lead generation, as well as conversion, because there's reviews. And then after these are done, this should say 4 actually, then we've got some good foundations. So we've got easy revenue. We've got some good foundations in place to increase conversion rate. We've also boosted Google Maps results, which is quite inexpensive to start getting more traffic through building, the trust with prospects, and even just Google with Google Maps through the Google reviews. Then we want to ramp up lead generation. So this could be through Facebook ads, Google ads, SEO, website optimization, content marketing, and bit of a shameless plug, my premium engine that converts leads into high paying jobs by building trust at scale. So bit of a plug here for this thing. And how this works, by the way, is what it does is it takes your leads, so your old leads, if applicable, as well as ongoing leads, it pushes them into, it has a sales bot that has a personalized conversation for starters. Then it pushes leads to go to join a Facebook group to claim something that's of really high value. So it's kind of like saying, hey, you really want this info, don't you? We put this info pack that's really cool. You can claim it by joining our Facebook group. Then once they're in the Facebook group, where your brand is consistently pushing so much content, valuable content in the Facebook group, that's just building all this trust with your prospects. And then what we do as well with this system is leveraging AI as well as VAs, people to actually analyze or put the data in so we can analyze, see, okay, which leads are showing engagement, which leads are showing they're getting close and they'd be pretty much ready to turn to a sale. And then we can actually, instead of, and this is getting a bit too into the detail, but I think it's pretty cool. Instead of just like your company sending them a Facebook message saying, hey, notice you've engaged and stuff, which I think can kind of actually put people off a bit, because people might be like, oh, if I engage on this company's, they're going to contact me to try to sell me. Try to make it seem as like it's coincidental, get the sales bot or even a sales team member, whatever makes sense, to sort of SMS them or call them. And then, they might say, hey, just calling, I've just noticed you engaged with us a few months back, and just wondering if you had any questions. Now, your lead might be thinking, this is coincidental, like this is such a good time. Now, it's because we've looked at the data and we've seen that they're demonstrating behavior that shows that they're ready to move along, right? So that's just some of the cool stuff there. Don't want to get too much into detail, but the idea is that it's turning your leads into high-paying jobs because you build so much trust with them with content, so much trust at scale, so that you're the only solution for them. So that they would pay a premium for you because they look at you as the only choice because you built so much trust. They understand your business, they know what you do different and things like that. Cool. So to wrap things up, if you wanted an audit for your business as well, so if you have a business and you want to grow it to at least $10 million or more, or maybe you're even past $10 million and you want to grow even more, and you just want someone to come in and help you with something like this, finding where your gaps are, finding where your quick wins are, while also coming up with a short-term play in addition to being aware of the long-term play. You could do there's so much more that could be done in here, such as even branding strategy. Which is the premium engine, that does that as well, which is content marketing. I've just summed things up here. But I think what I'm really trying to communicate here is that we look at the quick wins, we look at the stuff that's going to also get you long-term results with as little investment as possible. And then we look at the things that you have to do if you really want to scale on top of that. So if you did want your own audit and you think that partnering with me might make sense, or even if you're just not sure, I just want an audit or a chat, feel free to message me. You can find me on any of my social media profiles. You'll be able to find an email as well, or contact me through my website. You might have to book a call, actually. It depends on how the website's configured. But you'll be able to find me, Matthew Arthur. If as well, so maybe you don't even want to have a partnership thing. You might say, Matt, we've got SEO website. It's really cool, but I really am just interested in this premium engine. What is that? Absolutely happy to have a chat. So for businesses that are already doing really well, and they don't really need a partner like this to do a whole audit, they've got a marketing team or they've got an agency and they've already got this down pat, and they really just want to boost things, just really boost the conversion rates and or boost their profit margins, because right now you're doing jobs, but you're finding it hard to command premium prices, then you might just want to chat about the premium engine and just pay for that actually. So that's about 15 to 20K per month at the moment. And yeah, if that's something that, if you could afford, how would you phrase it? The way I'd like to think of it is, if you could afford to invest in, let's say, like a new team member, a new lead team member in your business that's getting paid around 180 to 250 grand a year, to drive 10x the value of that. Like if you said, oh yeah, my business can do that, then this system is probably something that you might want to look into. But if you said, oh no, I could not afford that employee, even if he drove heaps of value, like that's just too much, then it probably isn't for you. But I'd be more than happy to do an audit for yourself and see if our partnership offer would make sense if I'm not already totally booked by then. Cool. Well, thanks for watching. Hope this was useful. And if you do decide to reach out to me, I look forward to learning more about your business. This stuff gets me a bit way too excited. So potentially speak soon.